going on, everybody? It's your boy, Danny the Bull, back with another live stream. Once again, there's a lot to talk about as this market continues to move and heat up, and Ethereum is in the, I think about to test that $4,000 resistance again in the coming week. A lot of volatility to expect. Little red today. We got the Fed making a rate cut decision on Wednesday, which we know will be to keep things in place as is. But should be a busy week. Also got some stuff coming out of the White House in terms of crypto regulation and things like that. So we will chat about it as always. We got Joss in the house. What's going on, brother? Cash Games in the house. What's going on? Bitcoin sitting at 117.7, staying in its range, which is fine. Today's kind of a red day across the board. Everything's pretty much down. You got some outliers that are up, but this is the top 100. Fartcoin down 14%, Pengu down 8%, Ondo down 6%. So things are a little red, which these are buying opportunities. I think, at this stage in the market, if you've got some dry powder left, these are the days to buy. You don't want to buy it when everything's pumping, because things pump, they pump. These, when we're seeing things pump, we're seeing things pump 20% in a day now, 40%. Mcade went from a penny to 2 cents in a relatively short time. It's now a little over 2 cents. So we're at that stage in the market where, those green days move fast. Things move fast. So I try not to buy on those green days. If I do my buying, it's going to be on red days like today. And I've been buying and DCAing in some things. So we'll talk about those things and talk about whatever coins you want to talk about in the chat. B-Dubs in the house. What's good, brother? Thanks for coming through. Just picked up some juicy large caps on discount. Nice. What you buy, Russ? Christian, what's good? Did you catch? Yeah, I did. We'll talk about Devve. I'll do a Devve roundtable, and Devve released their roadmap, which I think is good, and which I think bolstered sentiment and refocused people and shifted the narrative from, when is the big announcement to these are all the things that we're doing. And Devve has done a couple of things. They've got the, what's the name of it? Devve, which is a stock trading on NASDAQ, which is kind of under, created by the CEO. They created a treasury of Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe Solana, and Devve, $300 million treasury announcement that will include Devve. So that kind of came before the roadmap. And then you got the roadmap, and today there was a roundtable or a discussion. So I'm bullish on Devve. We'll talk about it. Rotating from ETH into large caps. Yeah, baby, that's the way to do it. ADA, Sol, Ondo, Doge. Good day on Ondo. Good stuff. But here we go. Bitcoin at 117.6. It's been in this rangy motion, here we go, from 710. So we're going on about 3 weeks here. I would expect it to break out above the all-time high in the coming weeks, maybe after Wednesday. Wednesday, again, you got the Fed meeting, and Trump made Jerome Powell wear the silly little helmet at the work site, which became an instant meme. So he's trying to pressure Jerome to cut rates. That's not going to happen this Wednesday. 97% chance that they stay the same. But again, we keep coming back to this Fed watch probability of a rate cut. And right now, and anything could change between now and September. Right now, things are signaling a September as a possibility of the first cut, 61% on a 25 basis point cut, 2% on something bigger, 36% chance that things stay the same. And then you get into October and those chances increase. You got a 30% chance of a 50 basis point cut, not hike. So all signs point to the fall end of Q3, Q4 for rate cuts, which coincides very nicely with this cycle. So we should see some fireworks. I expect things to continue to grind up over the next few weeks. Get some nice momentum on some coins, maybe a pullback, and then I think we're off to the races. August, September, October, and we'll see some pretty big gains. And people forget just how big those gains can be. I went back into some historical data and looked at just a handful of coins from what they did from this point in the cycle, because July was also a bottoming out after a big move up from January to May. July, things bottomed out in the market in 2021. And, people are wondering, are we going to get another 2021 style alt season? A lot of people thought no. If you asked them months ago, right, they said it's going to be rotational. The liquidity is not there. They had all these narratives as to why it wasn't going to happen. But now you see narratives about why it is going to happen. And I do think we'll get a nice pump in alts that is, if not the same, type of 2021, it'll be somewhat reminiscent, I think. So if you look at 2021, this is just a handful of cherry-picked coins that, in the top 200, Solana, which was one of the biggest winners, if not the biggest last cycle, was at 26 cents in July, right? And went to 259 at its all-time high in November, pulling a 10x from there. You got Sandbox pulling a 30x. Something called MX, which I'm not really sure what it is. I just picked random coins because I didn't want to pick, the obvious winners. It was 45 cents in July, $3.08 in November, did a 9x. VRA, Veracity, a lot of people know that one. Just under a penny, went to just under 10 cents, 10x. And then something called Audio. This is a top 100 coin, all right? I'm not really sure what it is, but again, I wanted to, get a variety of stuff. And I think my takeaways from this were coming from where we are right now. I wouldn't expect everything to 100x or even 20x or 30x because things aren't at the floor, right? You're not, I think that a lot of things will 100x, but from their bottom. And so a lot of things are off their bottom and well off their bottom. If you think of even something like Mcade, I think is like a 5x off its bottom, right? I think it was at 004. Now it's at a little over 2 cents. And, other tokens like Hash AI, that off the top of my head is at least a 5x off the floor. So, you're not going to see, I don't think we're going to see 100x's off of a lot of our, coins from where they are now. And it's good to just being that, diversify, being some different narratives, and you never know what's going to catch momentum and all that. Well, we have some ideas of what's going to catch momentum, but it's good to spread out a little across narratives, across ecosystems, so that you have an opportunity to catch something. Russ says on and Wilder World did a nice move recently. I just saw Wilder World went on a little bit of a run. Great project. Yeah, up 200% in the last month on Wilder. Still a bunch off its local top. So in December, it was at about $1. But Wilder's got some nice momentum. Good one. Doodle Ever in the house. What's good, brother? The NFT market's been heating up. Do you think VV NFTs could make a comeback? I was thinking about that right before the stream. I did notice the NFT market heating up. I did say, I tweeted over a month ago that I think NFTs are going to make a comeback. Last week, someone swept CryptoPunks. You're seeing a lot of big money front run the NFTs. I know Alex Becker bought a CryptoPunk. House of Crypto guy bought some stuff. So I do think NFTs will make a comeback. Would not be shocked to see VV NFTs do some, some of them, not all, there are too many of them, right? But the solid pieces, Miles, partner statue, Todd Batman, which I saw, I think yesterday, I think it was Ivan, VV Viral, said that 7 of them sold in Stacker, but we'll see. I think there's a chance that VV, the top stuff, could do well. And I hope it does for those of you who are holding. Josh, HPR, Timo in the house. What's going on? Oh, WLD, not wild. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, WorldCoin. Oh, this launch WorldCoin. This is oh, this is the Trump coin. Yeah, I didn't realize this even. Is this the Trump coin? No, that's World Liberty. Penguins betting on Omi. Omi's going to need VV to to get hot, I think, in order to have any chance at catching a bid. It needs to get back into the conversation. It needs people from outside the Omi community to come in, right? Because you got the people who have been buying Omi for a long time, right? And those guys are exhausted. You got the people who left, who are, got angry, disenfranchised, who are not coming back. You need new buyers to come into the token. It's not widely talked about outside the community. And while the community is really strong and seems big, it's not, relative to the wider space. It's not. But we'll see how it does. I think if VV catches a bid and does well, I think you'll see some rotation to Omi. But then, again, the sell pressure also would concern me on that. Sam Altman, ChatGPT. Gotcha. Yeah, and that's right. The sell pressure on Omi is something that the sell pressure on Omi is what would concern me a lot, right? Because there are a lot of bag holders, and the majority of them bought high and accumulated a lot. Yes, sir. I'm going to talk a lot. Yeah, I like Bnkr a lot. VV Omi people can win and get back to pump their sleeping bags. I bought a lot of Bnkr over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to get into that in a second. Let's talk about some news before I get into that. So this Wednesday, I expect volatility today, tomorrow. And then we'll see what happens on Wednesday. I would expect the market to turn around because the market already knows that Jerome is not going to cut rates. They're waiting to see what he signals for the future. He'll probably give the same spiel that he always gives, talking about, the need to see inflation come down and, to watch what the tariffs do and unemployment and all that stuff. So this is interesting that the White House is coming out with a crypto report on July 30th, the same exact day as the Fed meeting, which I don't think is a surprise, right? I think, of all the days that they picked to release their crypto framework, they're picking July 30th, the same day that Jerome Powell is due to speak on cuts. So this is coming out on Wednesday. Another thing to watch in it. You can expect them to talk about the, here it is. The report may include proposals for a national digital asset stockpile. So that's not only related to Bitcoin, right? That's related to all of crypto, and a strategic Bitcoin reserve. While the working group was originally tasked with crafting a federal stablecoin framework, that objective has since been addressed through the Genius Act. So they're moving beyond that now. And so they'll talk about banking access for crypto firms, future, regulation, licensing, that sort of thing. So this is dropping on Wednesday. So a big day on Wednesday. PayPal this was in the news, I think yesterday, PayPal to let U.S. merchants accept payments in more than 100 cryptocurrencies. All right. So I think a lot of big caps are going to be getting some love here. A lot of, so what's going to happen is PayPal will allow people to pay, let's say with AVAX token or whatever it is, whatever the 100 are. They will then sell it, convert it to their stable coin, and then, proceed from there. But this is called adoption, and this is the cycle of adoption, right? So another big step forward. You're already seeing Shopify integrate with Base Network. The biggest catalyst, I think, one of the biggest catalysts coming in September is the new Base wallet, which is why I'm super bullish on Bnkr, which I'll talk about in a little while. But also for the whole space, I think Base wallet is going to be an absolute game changer. It's in beta mode right now. It's got a whole social feed integrated into it. It encourages content creation. I think it's got like TikTok style video. You're seeing all the pieces come together from Zora, which went absolutely parabolic. I think the Base wallet is going to be a big moment for crypto. That's coming in September, I think, is when it's going to be open in wide release. And I'm trying to get in. Someone's getting me into that, into the beta. So I'll be able to check it out and review it for you guys ahead of time. But why, people were talking about, well, this, there's not going to be an altcoin season because institutions are buying Bitcoin and they're not going to sell it and we won't have the rotation and money's not going to flow in. That was the narrative that we heard early in the year when prices were going down. And now what are you seeing? 21 shares files with SEC for spot Ondo ETF. Wall Street isn't coming for Bitcoin. It's coming for Bitcoin. It's coming for Ethereum. It's gobbling up Ethereum right now at unprecedented levels, more than Bitcoin at the moment. It's coming for the large caps. It's coming for the established large caps, XRP, Ondo, even ADA. Okay, it's even coming for Cardano, Sui, Solana. It's coming for all of them. And we're going to see rotation from those large caps to the small caps. And there will be an alt season, in my humble opinion. All right, but we had Bitwise has an ETF that they applied for that was approved and then delayed. And that's a good one because that one is a large cap, right? That is 90% of assets to be held in either Bitcoin and Ether, with the rest spread across digital assets like Solana, XRP, even Polkadot, which no one uses. And, what are parachains anymore, right? But even Polkadot is getting love. And this will rotate. The idea of this is it will rebalance and rotate the large caps. All right. But this was put on hold, likely because of, red tape, regulation, things like that need to be addressed first. And you're going to see more of these. All right. We're going to see more of these ETFs open with large caps. So the narrative was that, Wall Street was just coming for Bitcoin. There's way too much money in this space, and big money will flow towards where the money is to be made. And there's too much money here. I said it when we were in the bear market, is that there's too much money on the table for there not to be an alt season, right? So it's coming. I think the writing's on the wall. Ethereum ETFs massively outpace Bitcoin funds, massively. So look at last week. Ethereum ETFs flipped their Bitcoin counterparts this week, adding 1.8 billion in ETH, while Bitcoin funds saw just a fraction of that. So I think the actual number was 70 million added for Bitcoin, 70 million, while there's 1.8 billion in net inflows for Ethereum. All right. So again, ETH was written off, and now ETH is an institutional darling with the Genius Act, with ETF staking, and all of these things, and all the big institutions that missed out on Bitcoin are now gobbling up Ethereum and trying to not miss that boat because maybe they feel like they missed out on part of that big Bitcoin run. So then, the way things work in a bull run, and again, this is not specific to crypto. I've said this before. When you see big bull runs in the stock market, towards the end, stocks go crazy, right? The small caps, the mid caps, penny stocks, and you're seeing meme stocks going crazy, from Krispy Kreme to GoPro, as meme stock trading frenzy returned. This is very reminiscent of 2021. Right. And earlier in this bull run, earlier in the stock market bull run, they said it wasn't really a bull run because only the Mag 7 was moving, right? The big tech stuff was moving. But now things are broadening out and you're getting a full-on bull run in the stock market. NASDAQ, S&P hitting fresh new all-time highs seemingly every day. And it's just a matter of time before Bitcoin hits a new all-time high. And then Ethereum finally hits a new all-time high, and then that's going to, unleash the beast, and we'll see a lot of things start running. So, now is the time. I'm sure people are already positioned, right? But to get that last positioning in on these red days, good opportunities to do that. So I've been buying, one of the things I've been buying that I talked about, I put it out when I streamed with Josh last week, and I see Cass in here. What's up, Cass? How are you? Happy Monday. I streamed with Josh from Dirty Degens last week, and I said I really like Bnkr, and I talked about it on stream. This is Clanker. I'll talk about this too, but Bnkr coin on a dip today, but look how sexy and great this chart looks. All right, this launched in December. Bankerbot, it's an AI agent that allows you to trade, buy, sell, send through texting on socials, right? So it's all over my X feed. People be like, hey, Bankerbot, send so-and-so, whatever. And then it does it, right? It connects a Bankerbot, an account you can link to your Twitter account, and it creates an instant wallet for you seamlessly, and people can buy, sell, send. It's got a whole bunch of great features, and this is the future of crypto trading, right? This is it, is put it in a text and say, hey, Bnkr, buy me $5 of Bnkr every hour for the next 24 hours. And it will do it. This is, AI agentic trading. And the chart has been, I had seen the community and seen people using it and all that. And, so it was on my watch list for a while. I saw it drop down and I added a bag. And then right after I added a bag, Coinbase stated that they were looking to list it. It's part of their, coins that they're going to list on Coinbase, which is absolutely massive. It's not even on Coin Market Cap yet. So that might be a record to get listed on Coinbase before you are listed on Coin Market Cap. But it's got Coinbase Ventures invested $50 million in it. And it's going to be fully integrated into the new Base wallet, again, which is coming out for everyone in September. So when I talk about, that being a pivotal moment for this, for crypto, and it's going to be kind of like a groundbreaking app, right? That mixes a social feed with the ability to buy, sell, and all that. Mint. Bnkr is perfectly positioned in the social feed. So I got super bullish on it, bought it, and I've added a lot to it over on dips. I've been buying it heavy on dips. The chart is so sexy. And if you look at, my thinking is, with Coinbase Ventures behind it, a Coinbase listing in the works, Base wallet coming out, they're not going to allow it to, it's going to send is my thinking, right? Look at Zora, which is something that Coinbase Ventures is also, and Jesse Pollock is really behind Zora. And Zora did a 10x in the last, couple of weeks. Since July 17th, it did a 10x. And, the writing was kind of on the wall, right? Because, again, Coinbase Ventures, Base Wallet, Jesse Pollock, super bullish on it. I'm kind of mad at myself for missing it. We had some time. It came out, it launched in April. For me, I always thought that Zora, I didn't really like the idea of coining all content, getting coined, right? And so that's why it didn't really resonate with me. But in terms of it being positioned within this base ecosystem and pushed by them, I think that Bnkr kind of has the same thing going for it, right? So would it shock me if Bnkr broke out? It wouldn't. So it's been in a constant uptrend. It has its dips. They get eaten up. Let me jump to the chat a little. Yeah, leverage trading will come to Bnkr soon. And that's what I'll pull up. I have a tweet. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to come to Bnkr. And here's a little recap on it. July was a massive month for Bnkr and Bankerbot, packed with amazing milestones from Coinbase listing and CB Venture support to insane ecosystem integrations and automations. All right, so they had a bunch of stuff added to their asset roadmap. Again, Coinbase Ventures put in $50 million. Bnkr automations are live. Anything you can prompt, you can now turn it into a scheduled automation. So buy a coin every day of the week, sure. Swap out of a coin over several days, done. So again, you can say, Bankerbot, if this drops, 10%, sell, sell out my position, and then buy back in. So you can do like if then automations. They have a revenue system where people, you pay to become part of the Bnkr Club, which gives you an opportunity to receive rewards, get airdrops, NFTs, that sort of thing. Again, fully integrated into the group chat and base app, into the social feed. And they're going to be deploying, other things like leverage trading and possibly real world assets. So super bullish on it. I bought a bunch over the last week, and I just think that the base ecosystem is going to send, including Mcade, because Metacade is also really well positioned for this base wallet release. Russ, when I talk to Russ, he's all about mini apps, right? And creating a bunch of mini apps, which Metacade is perfectly suited for, because what do they produce? Fun, quick mini games, right? That are play to earn, tournament style. They've got gangs of Metacadia. So all of this stuff will be accessible within the social feed of the new base wallet. And when does it drop? September, which is possibly, during peak not euphoria, but, getting close to that, euphoric part of this alt market where things are running really hard. So it's a great catalyst for the base ecosystem. If you're not in base, in diversified into some base projects, I think it might be a good idea, especially ahead of what's coming in September. But another one that's related to Bnkr, it's the creator of Bnkr, which is Clanker. Clanker is an AI launchpad that can be used to create coins, and it created Bnkr, and Bnkr has a larger market cap than it. Clanker is at 46 million. Bnkr is a little higher, but also a nice chart on Clanker, right? So I finished my Bnkr position and I started buying some Clanker. $46 million market cap. It's an ecosystem play, kind of like virtuals. If they can get a flywheel going, which is kind of what they want to do with a revenue system, it creates a flywheel effect. I think it could be do really well. Things that came out of there, based Fartcoin is at a $34 million market cap. There's another one. I forget. Oh, there's one yesterday that I caught before a big run, and that is DRB. Not before a big run. I caught it as it was running. Debt Relief Bot. DRB is a meme coin created by Bnkr. So it's part of the Clanker, Bnkr ecosystem. Debt Relief Bot is the first meme coin created by Grok. All right. Elon's AI, Grok. And it created it back in March. And there's a mechanism for, I think 1% buy and sell fee on it, and which goes into Grok's wallet. And Grok's wallet currently has $750 million in it. So if it could be the first AI program, platform, software that's a millionaire, right? So people are running this up. I caught it yesterday. We'll see if it has legs. This is a Degen play, meme Degen, but with a great narrative, right? Being Grok's first meme coin, right? Grok will never have another first meme coin, right? So Fartcoin was the first AI meme coin that was created, and that went to like $1 billion. I'm not saying this will, but I thought it was low enough market cap that I went in. And this is the all-time chart. So it went up to about twice as where it is now. Came down. It held up relatively well. And then it took off yesterday. So this is more Degen. And we'll see how it goes. Well, let's see what's going on in the chat. I lost where I was. Here we go. BMX on base. Let me look up BMX. I feel like I just looked at BMX. No, I don't. Is it? It's not this. Is it? It's not Bitmart token, is it? I'll come back to you. That's right. This is also new EU tariff deal may prompt Powell to drop rate 25 because he's continued to say he was waiting to see effects on tariffs. I think the markets are done with their knee jerk. Yeah, that's a good point, Christian. Which was another bullish, thing. The more you get tariffs in the rear view mirror, and I think that the tariff stuff has already been priced in. But yeah, the further away you get from it, the better, and the closer you get. If Devve actually has a partnership with NASDAQ, I really think we could see Devve potentially in the top 20 coins. Yeah, of the things that I hold, Devve is one with, I think, some of the biggest potential because of what it's aiming to do and the scope of it, the people that, are in it, behind it, and their potential partnership with NASDAQ. And I think, the community was starting to fear whether or not Devve would miss the bull run because, the partnership was delayed. But sentiment has shifted over the last week or so. See, it's up over the last 7 days, 40%. This is what I mean when I say things can move fast, right? And everyone knows this in crypto. Things can pop off fast. And you saw Zora do a 10x in a really small amount of time. If Devve gets that a partnership with NASDAQ and it's in Q4 euphoria, I think it could 10x easily off the news. But we'll see. I like the roadmap, which is here. So they've got the public shard launch, which means that builders can go in there, use the API and use the tools to build tokens, apps for DevX. They got a white paper update coming over the next few weeks. You've got updated websites, which will give people a look at what the Dev Exchange website will look like. And then Q4, the licensing is the key thing, right? Once that licensing comes through, then they'll be able to have their joint announcement with their exchange partner, which again, if it's NASDAQ, we talked about it a lot, could send it really hard. Top 20 coin, it's got that sort of potential, but it would need adoption, right, to get there. But I like that they did their roadmap. I feel like it recalibrated everyone and refocused people on the whole vision of what Devve is doing, not just on the partnership, because people were hyper fixated on the partnership and the announcement that you're forgetting that there's a whole ecosystem being built out, right? And that includes, a lending platform that they liken to what Aave does, and a ton of utility that's going to come for Devve. So, they're doing something different. They're trying to merge TradFi and DeFi, and that is coming at the right time, narrative wise, because you got institutions again flooding in. So it's always made sense to me that Devve will do well. But we'll see how it plays out. What do you believe? I try not to speculate on market caps, especially for Chuck, because I'm so closely attached to it, right, and tied to it. I think I have it here. So Chuck went to $32 million market cap early on. Came down and bled out, right, like a lot of coins. Has shown renewed strength over the last few weeks, which is good to see. Back over $1 million market cap. We went up to, I think, 1.8 or something. We were just shy of 002, I want to say. We got up to 00184. All right. And then, you had to have a little cool off period. I have no idea what it's going to go to, but I'll be there along for the ride and, working for my bags alongside the Chuck community, because it's a community meme token on Base. I do think that Base meme coins are also going to benefit from the Base app. And I know that the Chuck community is working on things for that Base app, right? For the new Base wallet to integrate into the social feed and things like that. So, I think that there will be a Base season. And I think, it's starting to seed and people are starting to wake up to it. And I think that some of that stuff is inevitably going to leak into the meme coins that have been around for a while. Hopefully, we get the biggest bull run ever, Joss. Dino says, Omi is still poop. It's Omi's a little, let's pull it up. I hope Omi does well for the people that I know and have good friendships with. It's a tough chart, man. They need to turn it around. They need to not all these. So they have these moments, right? This was in December. Well, it went from 0003 to 0007, but it's the problem is the sell pressure. When there are these, bumps up, it sells off, right? And then I don't know, I saw there's an Omi Watcher app on Twitter that showed a lot of Omi going to Mcade from the business development wallet. So I don't know how much the team is selling, but what they need is an NFT season to kick off, Vivi to catch fire. And Vivi's got a lot of things going for it in terms of the IP, obviously, right? Self-custody would be great. The ability to enable transfers. But, the IP is second to none. And it's got a great community. So if it can catch a wind in some NFT season, and if they can manage to, I guess, market and get the word out on Omi, I just have a hard time seeing it doing big numbers because of the number of the levels of resistance above it, right? There's a lot of levels of resistance above it. And you got to break through those. And there's going to be a lot of sell pressure from a lot of people who hold big bags, and they've been bag holding for 4 years. That's why I prefer first cycle coins. But really hoping that people in it do well. I want everyone to make money, and I'm good friends with a lot of people in the community. I feel like the perfect recipe for Mcade would be either get a gaming or base season, have Ellie or Bnkr talk about it, and a Coinbase listing. Yeah, so I think Mcade, let me see if it's still up over. What we want to see is Mcade flip this 2 cents into support and stay above it. Right? You don't want to go, get knocked down. You want to flip it, make a higher low, and bounce back and challenge this resistance of 2.2 so that you can then challenge, the all-time high, which Ron has pointed out, this is stronger resistance than this, right? Because it's bounced up against it so many times. Ron put out a good tweet on Mcade TA last week. But so I think that there will be some form of a gaming, bid this alt season, simply because everyone I know has gaming tokens, right? I think, you'll get, sectors to pop off, and then people are going to look at what's undervalued, what's next. And pretty much everyone is holding something gaming related. So I do think you'll get a gaming run, but I think regardless, they're well positioned because of the base integration and how they're positioned there and how they have taken on almost like a leadership role, right? I've seen them hosting spaces, and they've done great with their Drop Zone NFT and bringing in other projects. So I've seen Jesse Pollock reply to Russ's tweets. I've seen him buy up when they minted their first piece of Max content on Zora. Jesse Pollock bought a bunch of the supply of it. So he knows who they are. They're going to be looking to push, the best projects that are leaning into the new base wallet, because that's the product. They're trying to push their product, right? Effective September, when this thing rolls out. They want to push this and onboard billions of users. And the way they do that is enabling the content creators on there and the builders on there and backing them and supporting them, right? That's why I think Bnkr is perfectly situated in there, because it can create kind of like almost like a financial rails in there, right? For, in the chat. Mcade is very well positioned on the gaming side of it. So in terms of a Coinbase listing, that's not going to be up to Mcade. That's going to be up to Coinbase, right? And they did list Bnkr, which is a $50 million market cap. And I think also Clanker. I'm not sure on that, but I think I read somewhere. I'm not as well versed or studied in Clanker, but I read that someone tweeted. So would it shock me If Coinbase said they're going to list Mcade, a base project that perfectly integrates, wouldn't shock me. But, that's not Russ's choice. That's going to be Jesse's and the team's choice. In terms of Elio and Alex Bnkr, Elio's been really fixated on his own project, which is I think it's called Black. It's a DeFi. It's a DEX on Avalanche, I think. And he's also got Super. Bnkr, hopefully, I know he's noticed them and he knows who they are, and they're part of Neo Tokyo. But again, that's going to be you can't just have them mention you, right? They have to notice you and want to talk about you. Those guys are at a certain level. Ted, man, I'm not integrated enough into what they've been up to lately to make that call. So I had a nice bounce off of their 50 cents, 40 cents. And I think this had to do with some partnership with Ripple that they announced in terms of, I don't know, for one of their, maybe for SoftNote. I don't remember. But they are integrating Ripple. So I think that's what caused that. It's crypto. So can it make a comeback? Yes, it can. Will it? I have no idea. And I'm not in deep enough in the TG, following up to have a feel for, where they are, what their plans are, and that sort of thing. Yeah, we said this before. Pick 5 coins. I mean, I don't know. That depends on risk tolerance and goals, right? So for me right now, what I've been buying, Bnkr, XMW, which where's Doodle Lover? Is he silent in here? XMW, I put out that I was buying a few weeks ago. It's done well. I got in, I think, at the local bottom, right? I was buying down here. So it's doubled since, which sucks because I wanted to add more. But Morphware is a compelling AI project. $45 million market cap, AI agents for large businesses, Bitcoin mining system. So the revenue that the real world revenue generating business that takes 25% of their profits and puts it into buybacks, right? So they're locking up supply, buying up the chart. So along the way in here, there was a buyback, and that will be a continued, that's part of their system, is a buyback. So that's a flywheel effect, right? That supports the price. So I actually added a little bit up here to XMW, and I would like to add more. That's one that I've been buying. I like Hash AI at these prices. Devve a little lower. I like just because it was lower. It was in the 40-cent range for a good amount of time. So those are a few. I love Mcade, of course. But I have a lot of it. No, Banker's not listed on Coin Market Cap. It's on CoinGecko though. So let's go here. I think part of the recent sell-off in the last of this week, or because it was at, or maybe just because it busted up again, rubbed up against all-time highs, right? So it came down. But also, I think the fact that debt relief bot went flying, money kind of like flowed out a little of Bankerbot, enabling this, little buying opportunity. Who knows? Maybe it drops a little lower, but it's been bought up along the way. But it's on CoinGecko. I want to pull up the website. Now let's go. here. Where's Bankerbot? Here we go. Yeah, so this is the website. Again, you can ask it for TA on things, and someone bookmarked it. Someone asked for, TA on DRB, right? So it spits out trend and momentum. It spits out support, resistance, risk, macro context, game plan, right? Look for entry on a pullback potentially in this range. So you can bridge on it, and you can create tokens on it, right? That's where Grok created that meme coin. You can check social sentiment, right? So you can in your feed or in your chat, you can ask it for social sentiment on a given coin. It will scour the timeline and summarize it. You can launch tokens on Base and Solana, transfer NFTs, drop airdrops, copy buys from top traders. And this can only be done. Some of this stuff you have to be subscribed, right? It's like $15 a month in Bnkr token. And that's part of the revenue system. So I've been making $300 a day on LEO black hole DEX. They juiced LP. Very nice. Cheers, Big A. Explain XMW or hash AI. So I just, so again, check out XMW's. It's Morphware. Morphware. So they have AI agents powering real businesses, generating real revenue, right? They have different packages to solve different problems for real businesses. And some of those packages cost, like, I forget what it is, like $10,000. It's like a subscription-based thing for big businesses. And that revenue feeds the flywheel in the community. 25% of the profits go back into the token price. They also operate a number of Bitcoin miners. They continue to buy more. They provide GPU power, and similar to what I think Hash AI does that. AI Tech says they do that, or they're going to do that once they build out their facility. So they're in that kind of sector, right? AI agent for big businesses, kind of like software as a service, GPU compute power, and things like that. The thing, they do have a buy and a sell tax of 5%, and they say that they're going to eliminate that once they reach a $10 million threshold in revenue from the buy and sell tax. Last I saw, they were about $7 to $8 million, so they're getting close. And then they're going to use that money, I believe, for exchanges, centralized exchange listings, things like that. They have dealings in Dubai. They're hinting at other things that are coming right here. See these little eyes? So they're hinting at something that's coming. I don't know what it is. And Hash AI is, crypto mining accessible to everyone. And you can earn passive Bitcoin. It's real world asset, real world revenue generating, 74% APY through fractionalized ownership of high performance Bitcoin miners. All right. So these guys continue to build out. They update with pictures and things like that of the facilities they're building. they already have like mind share and stuff like that in, on crypto Twitter. Alex Becker, includes them in his AI videos, which is big. So both of them, I think, are, good AI tokens. Love that Devve isn't waiting on partner announcement. Yeah. Doing the public shard will showcase and validate their tech and offering lending before even the exchange official. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people were hyper fixated on just the partnership. And and wondering if they would miss alt season. I think that the Devve team won't say this out loud because they never talk about token price. They never, want to be perceived as, pumping or over promising. But I think they recognized that they need to capitalize on the alt season and satisfy token holders. And that's part of why they leaned into the treasury thing, right? And that's why they have the $300 million treasury with Devvs. That's going to have a portion of that in Devve token. It's part of why they released the roadmap, and they're getting some of these things out earlier so that people can see what it's all about. Let me check if I have anything else. It's pretty much what I wanted to talk through. I'll be back at it again later in the week for another stream. I want to thank everyone for coming. Like and subscribe to the channel. Rush G says, gosh, remember those days you on the giveaway streams with VV with Randy? Hello, K. Yeah, those were great, man. Good times. Yeah, really fun times, good times. I met the best people through the VV community and still talk to, all the key people that I met. Yeah, Rio has been disappointing. I will say that. Very disappointing. And I think maybe it's due to the delay of the Freehold wallet, because that was supposed to come out. Very disappointing. But, we'll see. That's why we diversify. Thanks for coming through, everyone. Like and subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all in the next one.